We're live.
And nobody's here.
Okay, we'll give it a second. Oh, everyone, I would like for you to meet my middle child. There are exactly 2 children older, and there are exactly 2 children younger. Malakai finds himself smack dab in the middle of our family. And how do you feel, Malakai, about being a middle child?
Is that a trick question?
No, it's not a trick question.
I don't know how to answer.
What is it like being a middle child? Great? Do you love being the middle? What are your emotions about being a middle child?
You don't have the authority of being the oldest, and you don't have the intention of being the youngest.
So you lack attention and you lack authority. So what you're saying is not a fan.
No.
Okay, moving on. This live, I'm going to be interviewing my son, and he's going to be sharing some of his perspective. We have a whole list of questions. Some of these you guys have submitted beforehand. We were supposed to go live on Tuesday, but I had a major allergy attack, which was a lot of fun. 10 out of 10 stars, guys. Highly recommend. Get out there, let that pollen just infiltrate your system. So I've been recovering and getting myself on a Claritin regimen. But we're live today, and that's because we can't go live on Tuesday. So we figured let's just push this through. Malakai, why don't you start off with telling everybody what happened to your arm? Hold it up.
It broken because
why? How did you break it?
I took a bullet for somebody.
Oh my goodness. You know what we had to talk about beforehand? How not every single word that you speak can be sarcastic and can be a joke. We have to, remember how we talked about the sarcasm dial? Aww. Wow, Malakai feels so supported right now. So supported. Malakai, stay focused. Stay focused. Okay. We talked about how the sarcasm dial has to be toned down. So let's bring it down to a 20% level. Can we?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. We're going to open up the comments over here in our app. Welcome. Hey, Lacey family. Hey, Yarbros. The files are here from Malakai. The Butler family, welcome, welcome. If you have boys, you're going to understand this live a whole lot more. If you have teenage boys, you're going to understand it even better. If you do not, then this may be a little confusing, but it's just giving you an inside look at what your future is. So I have some non-caffeinated tea in front of me, and that may be what is required for today's live. All right, Malakai, why don't you tell us how old you are?
15.
Okay. Okay. And what grade are you in?
Trick question.
It's not a trick question.
I'm in Canadian grade 10.
Okay.
I say Canadian.
Why do you say that?
Because the grading systems in Canada and Georgia are different.
No, the grading systems are
different.
No.
The age.
There we go.
Yeah,
the cutoff is different.
I'm graduated. So,
in Canada, he would be grade 10. But here in Georgia, I'm is
3rd grade.
Grade 9. We literally had to look this up. This is how bad we are. Every single time someone asks us what grade, my kids literally are still deer in the headlights. They're like, I don't know. I have no recollection. What is a grade? We don't do grades, do we? No, but the world does. So we looked it up, guys, so that we can answer that question.
I'm grade 9.
He's grade 9. So any other grade 9 students who are watching right now, hands up emoji. You guys rock.
Please like and subscribe.
You hate that question. Oh, man. All right. So let's see. I have a whole list, but you guys get to ask your own questions as well if you have other ones to add to this. I think we should get started. What do you think? Are you ready for this? Okay. Okay, so tell us, why don't we start with an easy one? What's your favorite gather round unit and why?
The New Oceans. I don't know. I really liked it because I learned quite a lot. And I like the ocean quite a lot because there's so much in it.
Okay. Did you like the art?
Yeah, but...
Deep hesitation.
Because for the last... 2 weeks I haven't done it.
Okay.
But the first 2 weeks, I made these really cool seals and chicken. But I made the most circle ones possible. Wide.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. That's very pertinent information. No other ones? Like other favorite units?
I like
what are your like
transportations.
top ones? Transportation. All right. Did we even do that one? I don't think we did.
We did like half of it.
Oh, we did half. Cool.
Quite a while.
We are great starters in our family. Not so great at the whole finishing.
We didn't finish a unit until like last year.
Okay.
We've never finished a unit until last
That's
year.
absolutely incorrect. But
No.
this coming from the boy who doesn't know what grade he's in. So let's not pay attention to everything. Okay, we have finished units.
I'm grade
Malakai.
13.
Oh my goodness. All right. What is your favorite thing about homeschooling? Your favorite thing. Let's keep this positive, son.
Being able to set your own time and just overall freedom.
Right. So when I come in and I'm like, no, this is the time that we are doing school.
It's okay.
Do you feel like that infringes upon your freedom?
As long as it's not before 11.
Wow. All right. So let's skip ahead. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your homeschool day, Malakai? What does your free and flexible that you're advertising homeschool day look like?
Wake up at 9, 30 minutes before school, because we do a co-op here. And then we do the schools. And then it's lunchtime. And then I eat. And then I dirt bike.
Okay.
And then and then I go on a walk. And then I call the Yarboroughs. That's a daily thing I do.
Okay. Where do chores fit in to that list?
Whenever my parents tell me.
Right.
And maybe on a special occasion, I'll do it without them asking.
On a special occasion. That's great.
Like both days.
Somebody asked, what does it look like with your chores? Now, I'm a huge advocate of chores. Big fan over here. I have done the chore charts. I used to make them for you guys and myself. And together we had systems. But then I started a company and my kids became teenagers. And I realized that everything I knew and relied upon was no longer anything that I could know or rely upon. And so here I am in this place where my kids say what they value most about homeschooling is freedom, which I'm not positive is a good thing because there should probably be a little less of it. But yes, we're working on implementing more chores and systems and maybe earlier than 9 a.m. for wake up times. Okay.
That's difficult.
What?
I said that waking up earlier than 9.
Maybe it depends on your bedtime.
Midnight.
Oh, get out. My goodness. All right. Tell us, what's your favorite subject and why?
Science. It's fun. See, the gather on you in the moment, I don't read the context at the top, so I don't know which subject I'm doing at the time. So it's all mashed together for me. I don't like reading. I like answering questions.
You don't have to learn about.
No, yeah.
You like answering questions about the things that you already know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Okay. So to get this straight, you know that the information at the top of the page is not context, it's teaching.
No, above that.
Oh, above that.
Above that.
What the subject is. So you like being like surprised, like hit in the face with, whoa, what am I learning about? I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's great. It's excellent.
And maybe on another special occasion, I'll look at the top.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Somebody was saying that they enjoy the stories with Jax
Where are you looking at these?
and Malakai in US history. See, they kind of scroll by.
Oh,
See? I can't scroll up, but
I never listened to that story. I'm not even in it.
yes, you are in it. And there's some of them you even recorded. So
Other than that, it was some random Australian.
I will say that some of those things are, I mean, Jax was a real goat, right?
A real troublemaking goat. Can I tell the story about him?
Okay, tell a story.
Goats are smart. They're known for escaping. And up in Canada, we had a barn. You'd have to put them in every single night because it's so cold. And there would be latches, of course, but you put another lock on top of it. Somehow, my goat figured out how to take off the latch and open it up and push it open. And so he did that to every other goat pen, including the food pen. So we opened up all the other pens, and they all went into the food pen.
He was big too. He was a big goat. He was tall. He was strong. He had horns. Got to a point where I'm like, we bottle fed him. He was so, so, so cute. We loved that goat. But I was like, go smaller. If you guys are getting into goats, I highly recommend, like, what are the ones I like? Fainting goats.
Fainting goats. They're expensive though.
Yeah, but they're sweet. They're just like they're not going to come and headbutt you. They're actually, if you're going to come up to them and be like, hey, don't do that, they're just going to fall over. And I just feel like that passiveness is what I'm looking for in an animal. So
yesterday I saw a video about a goat, and I really want to show it because I downloaded it.
Malakai really
it's a motivational goat video. I don't.
And his brother, and this is, so you want to know what our homeschool day looks like? We do a co-op, so we have often multiple other students here. And so we're all sitting and learning and, together, very studious moments. And these boys have a Screaming Goats soundtrack. But the thing is, it's a special one because it is designed to only scream intermittently in unexpected times. So you just hit play and like for 10 minutes, there will be no scream. And then all of a sudden there'll be the scream. And every single time, everyone jumps out of their skin. It's really special. So just again, for those of you who don't have teenage boys, I'm just getting you excited and prepared for your future.
I'll show them the video.
Well, I don't know if that is. Okay, let me ask another question while you find it. Ready? If you were to create a unit, Malakai, what would it be?
A car unit.
What? We have transportation.
It's not the same what I want. I want to go over all the car brands and all the displacements and all the values. Although that would be difficult to make.
Don't you think it'd be boring?
Oh no, not for me. Maybe for other people.
Car one. This is the engine of car one.
For people.
Car two has the exact same engine, but it's just a millimeter larger on the left with a little bit more pull and push on the right. I mean,
no. This is the video. It's a motivational. I want to show this. It's motivational.
I think I have to vet that before you can show it. I'm going to vet that video, and if it is appropriate, he'll post it in the comments.
It's a code saying.
How does it work with the co-ops? So the way that we currently do it is actually more of a hybrid model for this year. And so we're all doing the same unit. We're all working through the same unit at the same time. And we've been getting together 3 days a week and doing it in person. So one day at home, streamed online, and then the other days on here. And so it's been really great. It's given us some structure and routine. We've gotten through and completed a whole lot more units than we have in the past. And so we've really enjoyed it. This next year, though, we are looking at doing something a little bit different and doing actually an online co-op. We're looking at maybe being part of our membership, because we're realizing that, I mean, even for our own co-op, we've got people who are coming from a pretty decent distance away, and driving is a lot, and we all have busy lives, and we're trying to facilitate our families. And so what we're looking at doing is something where you could be doing your stuff at home on your own, come together. And one of the things I hate about co-ops is that often it is not what you're doing. It's something on top of what you're doing. The problem with that is that you're losing a day in your week doing something else that is not actually helping you or checking anything off your list. So now you have to go and play catch up. But additionally, you are usually getting homework or activities or things that you have to do related to this co-op. So it actually, instead of taking things away from my life or making my life simpler, I find that it often adds. And so the goal with what we're trying to do is, if we can all be tracking on the same page, then we can do these things at home, come together and actually take some of that weight off, and it's not adding anything extra. And then throwing in a lot of extracurricular type things in there. So yes, that is what we're looking at, and then possibly doing that online, because we want to have that be something that other people can join in on. And so you would potentially next year, if you joined and were a part of that, would be able to see my kids as they play their screaming goat videos or whatever they do during our lessons.
That only happened a couple of times though. Now we only play Mario and Wii music.
Yes.
With speakers.
Yes.
So everybody can hear it.
It's new. His mercies are new every morning. Okay. How is your high school homeschool different from the past years? Oh my goodness, it's so different. I think what Malakai is talking about of the freedom and the flexibility, I've always had this vision, and I've talked about it a lot, of our kids gathered together, right? I mean, that's literally the name, gathered around in his name. But my kids gathered around like these little chicks, and we're all just going to learn together. And so I love this idea of getting into the living room, snuggling up on the couches, and just reading and discussing and talking. What I've seen happen as my kids have entered high school is, there's a whole lot more discussion. There's a lot more depth. We can go on rabbit trails and just spend the whole day. That Socratic style of learning, of just discussion and conversation and debate and research, I think that becomes honestly the most valuable thing. And you'll start to see that when we first started Gather Round, we did a lot more with high school. We would do an essay or do this, because I felt like that was people's expectation for high school, is they wanted more and more and more output. But actually what I've seen now that I'm really entrenched in high school, we've got one graduating this year, one graduating next year, one graduating the year or two after that. I mean, we're in it now. We're in the thick of it. And I think the most valuable thing for this age is not output. I think the most valuable thing for this age is thinking. It's learning how to think for themselves, which means a lot more discussion. Yes, sometimes you need to learn how to put those thoughts on paper, but I don't think that that is the chief paramount focus that we need to be focused on. I think that it is in the conversation, the debates, the discussions, the looking at things around you. And so I think that's been the biggest transition. And also understanding that my kids have different interests, and they have different strengths, and they have different weaknesses, and they really do value their independence, and they value their autonomy, and they value their freedom. And so I think that has definitely shifted the way our homeschool looks, of as our kids get older, and it doesn't look that way when they're younger, but as they get older, releasing a little bit more of that me teacher, you student, and letting them take some more ownership of their homeschool day. Yeah, just my few thoughts. But okay, Malakai, I'm going to give you another question. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. What is your least favorite thing about homeschooling, being homeschooled? What's one of the hardest things?
One of the hardest things for me is every once in a while I get these little comments by friends, hinting that because I'm homeschooled, I miss out on a lot of the social stuff. And every once in a while it hurts, because people,
it's kind of the jabbing remarks, and they just kind of keep coming up. And we talk about that a lot, right? We talk about the fact that people don't know. They don't know any better. They have grown up in this public school world, and sometimes they're really curious, and sometimes, I mean, people don't realize sometimes how hurtful their words can be. But yeah, when it's a constant little like needling, joking about that you don't know something, or that you haven't ever done something, or that your experience is different, or that you're so sheltered from something that's real. That is really super hurtful. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go for a second?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So how do you want me to switch the topic, or do you want me to ask one more question?
I don't care.
How do you cope with that when those are your friends? Does that make you want to not homeschool? Does that
No.
make you think that because you feel like maybe you're missing out on something, does that make you want to go to school?
No, not at all. How I cope with it is I normally talk with my family about it. I just tell them how I feel, and a lot of the time that helps. Or I just go on a walk or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we it's a real thing. It's a real thing that I think we face as homeschoolers. I mean, you face it as parents. We face it as parents, and I think sometimes we forget that our kids are facing it on a constant, ongoing basis. Especially if you have friends that aren't homeschooled. I think some families, we are really immersed in a homeschool world. We have a homeschool co-op, we have homeschool friends, we go to a church where all our homeschool people are. And I think that has been our reality in other places we've been. But here we've moved to the heart of a new country, a new region where we don't have a lot of homeschool friends, where homeschooling, it's not that it's not as popular, but it's that it's very different. And yeah, maybe not as popular. It's different. It's really different here. And so we're not surrounded by a bunch of homeschoolers. We have friends and family members and people in our lives that are public school all the way and probably judge us for our decision. And so we're in a little bit of a less protected situation than maybe we have been in the past. And so it is something that it's just a reality of something that we have to deal with, right? And a challenge. Yeah. All right. We can read through some of those comments and see if there's another question that I'm going to ask you another question while we wait. Okay. Do you have any tips for motivating or encouraging other kids who are your age? Maybe when they're struggling, if they're feeling judged, or maybe if they feel like, they're missing out on the social aspect, or they're just going through hard things in their homeschool day and feeling sorry for themselves. What are some tips that you have from your own experience and your own journey?
A lot of the time I just open up to my family, and sometimes I ask my brother or my sister or my mom to just hear me out. And sometimes if it is my family that did say something, which is it's almost never, at that point I really just go on a walk and pray, and just let God hear me out.
Yeah, for you, like whether it's a frustrating page in your school books, whether it is, just irritation with your siblings, whether it's something that somebody said or done, walking is just getting in nature for you is a big thing, or going on your motorbike.
Yeah,
that's
not a good idea though.
But getting out in nature and removing yourself a little bit from the situation to be able to clear your head, to be able to think, and to be able to pray is a big strategy for you. Hey.
Yeah.
And I know that's not possible for everybody. I mean, not everybody. We live on land, and so we have space to be able to do that. But I do think that just taking time, and I think that again goes to one of the biggest shifts that we've seen with our older kids is that they need more time. They need more time alone. They need more time to process. They need more time to think. They need more space than they did before. And giving them that space, that transition, even especially as a mom, I would say, as a mom, we're so used to parenting our kids very much, talking them through things. And there's times and places for that. I mean, Malakai and I, we talk a lot. But there's also times when there's been actually very specific times where I felt like the Lord has said, don't you dare intervene in this. Like, this is me and him. I'm doing something. Like, if you go and intervene, then he's not coming to me because he's coming to you. And so it's just been interesting to see this transition of there's times when we're going to talk. And there's times when my kids need space and they need time to think it through for themselves, and they don't need me to sit there and teach them about it. They need to get there on their own or with them and the Lord. And so it's not a perfect transition because it's different for everybody and it's different every day, I feel like, but it is a difference for sure in homeschooling older children, students, high schoolers. All right, Malakai, what are some of your interests? What are some of the things that you're interested in about?
Learning. Wait, what?
What are some of the things you like? What are your hobbies or interests? What are you interested in?
Cars. I love cars a lot.
Yes.
And my dirt bike. I like my dirt bike a lot too. So engines and vehicles. I like those.
Horsepower.
And fishing. I like fishing too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We really wanted to find a property that had a pond for fish. That was like one of our big things because Malakai could just fish all day, every day.
Also,
he loves to fish.
When we were in the RV looking for a house down here in the south, sometimes the parks would not have fishing ponds, but the days they did, or the times they did, I was there all day. For example, we stayed at a friend's house for a month one time, and they had a fishing pond, and every day I would go out there at like 6 and stay there till 7 p.m. So 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I'd stay out there all day fishing.
Yeah. So what are some of your, with those interests in mind, or maybe not, what are some of the things that you see for your future or your goals for yourself?
Something I do want to do and I feel very called to do is making a business. And I don't know fully what that'll be, but that's my future goal, eventually make one. I don't want to work for other people. I want to work for myself or for God.
Why don't you want to work for other people?
I want to have my own power and do my own thing. Spider-Man phrase right there. I'm gonna do my own thing. For example, I worked for you. I can make books and all of that, but the thing I really like, a lot of the time I don't like doing that. So the thing I do for work though is lots of lawn work because we have very big fields, and that's what I love to do for work too, lawn work.
So I would say, and this is, something I saw in myself even as a homeschool kid. I would say that you are, how do I put this? You don't really like being told what to do. You kind of want to do what you want to do. Yes.
For example, when you tell me to clean, I hate it. I don't like doing it. But when I want to clean myself,
when is that? When is that? Once a year?
Once a week.
I don't think it's that often. But in that, I think there's that tendency where in our own nature that can either veer us toward laziness because we don't want to do anything that anyone tells us to do. Mm-hmm. But it's like trying to find the path of least resistance, right? That can look, somebody could look at that and be like, oh, that's laziness because you're just trying to find the easiest way. But it actually can be something that makes you a really great business person, because entrepreneurship and running your own business is all about finding the path of least resistance. It's not just, I want to build this, I want to do this, I want to go there. It's what's the fastest, quickest, easiest way to get there? How can we make things faster, quicker, easier? And so it can be one of your greatest strengths, but it also has weaknesses with it too, right? So yes, Malakai loves entrepreneurship and really, really, so many business plans, you guys. There's so many conversations about businesses that he wants to start right now.
When I grow up, I'm going to be the first trillionaire.
Wow. Great goal.
I hope not.
All right. Let's do a couple more questions. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to post them here. Let's see. Tell us about moving. Tell us about your transition from Canada down here to Georgia. What was it like? What was it like when we were like, we are packing up, going in an RV and leaving for 6 months? First tour. Thoughts?
I mean, you notified us like a year before, and I was like,
Not a year before.
like 6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, when you first said, I was like, wow, that's cool. It's probably going to be a small thing for like a week or a month. It was 6 months. But when we did go down, it was a very fun thing. We faced a lot of struggle. For example, we had no space. It's a big RV, but for 7 people, for 6 months, it's not a lot of space. So a lot of the time, I forgot what I was going to say. It was difficult because just we didn't have our own space at all.
So that was tour 1. So let me go back. We've got 6 months at home. You see everybody again. And now we're like, now for real, we're going for 6 months. We're not sure if and when we're coming back. We're trying to find a place to live. And now, how are your thoughts and feelings? I thought it was harder to leave the second time than the first. Remember the like middle of the night dash?
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Okay, that really helped. At that moment, it was very fun for me. I did not care, but then again, it was winter at that time, and we had to go because of a snowstorm. So we had to stay at hotels every night for like 2 weeks until we got down into the south, where eventually we got to stay in our RV. But another struggle with just living in the RV in the first place, which was when we were looking for the house, was we never had our own place. We couldn't do we had we didn't have our own yard. Couldn't build anything or anything. Yeah, couldn't do our own stuff.
Well, and even like we couldn't get involved in church. We couldn't have friends because it was like acquaintances, but you'd meet someone and it was like, well, we'll probably never see them again and move on somewhere else. And even when we went home, we'd go back and there was no this transition season. And so it was like we had no home. It was like we couldn't invest anywhere. We couldn't have friends anywhere. We were totally displaced, which was hard. And yet, like right now, our whole family, like I would say, like our heartbeat, every one of us is like, oh, we want to go in the RV again. Don't you think?
Yeah, but then we don't think of all the struggles we had. But
no,
at the moment we didn't see it, but what do you call it? The upsides and the pros overcame the cons and the flaws of it.
Yeah. It was a really special time in our life and probably one of the hardest times in our life.
Yeah.
And not something that I think that we would want to go back to. We want to go in the RV for like a week, maybe 2, maybe even a month. Sounds fun. But living with nothing else and no certainty and no place and no people to call your own was probably the hardest part about that. All right, so we dragged you away from all your family, all your friends, everything you knew, and we plopped you in this new place called Georgia, and we said, this is your home. How has that transition been? We've been here a year and a half, 2 years, year and a half.
For the first 6 months, I really struggled. Actually, it wasn't until just recently I really struggled because I couldn't find any friends or anything. But recently, I've found some really good friends, but and in the first 6 months I've made some friends. Like they did not help. They hurt my feelings. They said some bad stuff and hurt me. But where were we? I forgot. Yeah,
just what that transition was like. We had no family here. We knew no one. It's not like we planted ourselves somewhere where we knew people. We knew no one. And we've gotten to know people for sure. I would say that we've gotten to know people, but it has been a very different transition than we thought. I think from the beginning, we can say that after.
Okay.
I think from the beginning, we had this, the Lord has been so good to us. He has transitioned us so many times. With Jonathan being in the RCMP, we've moved a lot. And every time we moved, there was this place waiting for us. There was people, there was a church family, there was community, it's like we were just enveloped within this environment that the Lord had waiting and prepared for us. And so when he said, go into the land that I'm giving you, it's almost like we had that same giddy anticipation that it was going to be like all the other times before. Like there was going to be a place prepared for us, and we were going to go and show up and just have this sense of family and community. But I think that has not been our story. That has not been what it's like. I think we've come to this area where homeschooling is largely very classical methodology. There is that freedom, spirit-filled release from the expectations is not as common. And so it's felt odd for us to try to get connected. Aside from the homeschool community, I would say everybody is super, super busy, and trying to get connected when everybody has, all of their extracurricular, all of their things, everything's planned, sometimes way in advance. And so we are the kind of people, because we work from home, but also just our family, we are the kind of people who are like, let's stay up late, let's visit, let's intentionally invest in relationship. And we will say no to other things so that we can leave ourselves flexible, so we can pursue what we really value. And that just isn't the way that things are here. The way that things are is very much so, it is a moving train, and you can either hop on that train if you're going the same direction, or you're just not going to really connect with people because everyone's really, 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 really busy. So that's been just different. It's just been a different thing for us, and it's made it more difficult. But I think one of the things we've been talking about is we knew that when the Lord called us to the United States after our first tour, when we went home, we felt very strongly that not only were we called to come here because this was where the Lord had the future of our family, but we felt like we were called to actually come as missionaries. We felt that we were called to come because we were to bring something. And when I think of a missionary going to a foreign country and doing ministry work, they're not going there and having like this huge embrace of family and friends and connection. They're going there to work. They're on the missions field. They're on the front lines, and they're going to come back and be able to rest and, have family and friends and relationship and be poured into. But when they're on the front lines, they're in a totally different mindset. And I think that this has just been our commissioning. We've been sent out, and that's not an easy thing. It's hard enough for Jonathan and I. It's another thing when your kids are drug into that. Like it or not, this is our reality. And I think as parents, that makes it really hard. It's really hard to hear your kids say those things. It's really hard to feel like you wish you could fix that. You wish you could provide what you know that they need or that they desire. And it just doesn't exist. And so we're at this frame of mind right now where we're going to have to create the vision that we have, because the vision that we have is not something that we can necessarily find. And I know that there are other people in the same situation. I know that there are other people who feel disconnected. They feel like there's a lack of community. They feel like there's a lack of resources. Maybe you live, a little bit more rural and you don't live in a big city, or maybe you live in a city and everyone is busy and you feel like the odd one out. Whatever the situation may be, I know that we're not the only ones in this place of just wanting community and saying no to the rat race, I guess, of life. So anyways, my little rant.
Sorry. For the hunts, how do I think about towards my bigger brother? It's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. For the first really 8-10 years of my life, I was very close with my brother because we shared a room and we were best friends. Always played together, always did the same thing. But then we moved and we each had our own rooms. That changed a lot. He wanted to do his own thing. He didn't talk to me much or play with me. But recently he's been coming a lot closer to me. We've been doing a lot more stuff together. And then for the next one, how did I break my arm? I fell off a shipping container. Or for those Canadians, a sea can.
How, Malakai?
Somebody pushed me off.
No one pushed you off.
Okay. I was trying to climb down, and one of the gates were open of it, and I didn't know that. So as I was going down, one of my feet were down almost, and then my other foot was still on the top of the sea can, and I slipped and fell.
Yeah. He's had it on 2 weeks, and he's pretty determined just to rip it off his arm at this point. He says he's fine, and it's all healed up. But so pray for me, because holding him back. Oh, goodness.
Silas is saying that right there.
Mm.
Silas is saying that because I kept on accusing him.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, were there any other questions you saw, Malakai, that you wanted to answer?
I'm trying to see. They're like, how do you look up? Oh, why are they blurry? No. Okay.
Yeah, I think you guys, our first night when we first got to our house, we had been in this RV for so long, and everybody was just at each other's throats, and they were going to get their own rooms. And the first night in the house, Jonathan and I, okay, well, we learned that in the South you spray for bugs, and there had not been spray, and I saw bugs. And so I was like, I'm staying in the RV where I'm safe, because even just like walking outside, what?
Just remembering all the cockroaches.
There were like, anyways, let's just leave it there. But my kids wanted to sleep. They were determined to sleep in their own rooms with nothing. They were going to drag in their blankets, and they were going to sleep in their own rooms because they were so excited to just finally have their own space. And I went in and I found them, every single one of them. You guys were all in one room. Like, you were all super emotional. You were so used to like they literally could see each other in the RV. And it was so like, you guys all, except for Caleb, I remember going up and be like, they're all sleeping in the same room. And he's like, no. Again, the transition into just their own people and wanting their own space and wanting their own freedom. But it has definitely been a big difference to go from such an extreme of being so close together to the extreme of everybody having their own space where they can retreat to. I think it's been good. And I think that there's pros and there's cons. And it's definitely different. And so our kids have gotten to experience all sorts of different things. But wow. Well, Malakai, anything else that you want to close us off with? Share.
We went to the creek yesterday.
Yesterday?
And my favorite color is purple.
Wow.
And orange at the same time.
Think
how dirty it is.
Did you see our new measurement unit? That's literally the colors.
Ew.
Oh, don't. Stop it. Wow. Well, if you had a teenage boy join us, I hope that they enjoyed this little glimpse into our very real life. It is very real over here, you guys. It's not always perfect. We don't do everything right all the time.
This isn't real.
It's true. Thank you, Malakai. Is there anything else that you would like to state?
This one.
What?
This one.
Oh, okay.
We have Janai, the youngest, Aaliyah, the second youngest, Zayla, the second oldest, and Caleb, the oldest. Mm-hmm. 3 girls, two boys. Yeah,
3 girls, 2 boys. We would have had more, guys. We would have never stopped, probably. We just were super, super fond of babies. But unfortunately, we could not. So 5 it is. We have 3 girls, 2 boys, and 4 of them are teenagers. My youngest one is turning 12 this year. So in 1 more year, they're all going to be teenagers, which is just fantastic. It's fantastic. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of strong feelings in our house. It's a lot of fun. And so for those of you that are dreading maybe the teenage years, they are absolutely amazing. And I think that in some ways it requires more of you, but I think that it's something I wouldn't trade for the world. And I would say it is absolutely critical. It is a critical season in my kids' lives. It is a critical season to have every conversation that we can have, every time our kids need to talk. And you'll find, I mean, especially if you've got more than one, our kids we'll go through these cycles where all of a sudden, I don't know why, but they all need these like deep discussions at the same time. And so sometimes it's like an hour or two in one kid's room, an hour or two in another kid's room. And I know I am not getting any of my work done today because I'm in counseling mode, but like my kids, they need to connect. They need to have conversations. They need to discuss. They need to talk things through. And so it's precious. It's critical. It's so easy when you get so close to what we see as the finish line to think, I've done so good so far. I think I can start to like renege a little bit of my responsibilities, but they need you more than ever before. It's like the most critical point at the very end. It's like birthing a baby. It's critical at the very end. So critical.
You see that one?
What? Oh my goodness.
I am too. Like, here's a piece. I'll throw it over there.
You're literally tearing it off?
Pieces are chipping and they're making my arm itchy. Like, for example, right here. I can't show it. Right here. It used to be like up here with fiberglass, but it's gone. Because it chipped.
Thank you for
And
sharing.
this keeps falling out.
Wow.
So we gotta push it.
All this to say, fight the good fight. You guys can do it. You're doing amazing. And for all of you teenagers on there, be gentle on your parents. Okay. Tone down the sarcasm to 20%. Okay. It's just 20%. Just tone it down. We still want it's funny. It's funny at 20%. Once you get to 80%, it's not funny anymore. So just a reminder for all you middle schoolers / high schoolers, just a little grace for us. But hope you have an amazing rest of your day. We will not be going live on Tuesday. We're going out of town, my hubby and I, for a little bit. My parents are here to help out with the kiddos. And so, yeah, but we will be live again the next week, and I will post about the schedule and what we'll be talking about. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Oh, Pat and Amy, they have one more question. Are you hoping to move? Okay, that's a good question.
Where does it say that?
Are you hoping to work together as you guys grow up? Like, what's our game plan? Are kids just going to, like the day they turn 18, leave the house? Is that your intention?
No.
What are you going to do when you graduate?
Hopefully get a life. No, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. No, I have a life, but hopefully get more involved with the community and I'll move out when I get married.
Wow.
Then I'll move out. Other than that,
So
if I stay single for life,
in this financial climate, okay, who can afford to go and move out and live on their own? First of all. Secondly, my kids will have their own rooms, so there's really not a lot of incentive for them. But thirdly, I think, yes, my dream was I want my kids to work. I want them to be a part of what we're doing. I would love for what we build with Gather Round to have a place for all of them where it's enough of their own place, where they feel like they have their independence, they have their freedom, they have their autonomy, but they also are around. That's my ultimate dream. That's both Jonathan and my ultimate dream. But we also understand that our kids may need to go and taste something else, A, to either appreciate, but B, maybe because the Lord has something else for them. And so we are holding things carefully and gently at this point. I wouldn't necessarily say even with an open hand. I was going to say that, but honestly, we are very protective of our kids. We are very protective. I would say more so as they become teenagers. In that again, like somebody asked me the other day, or like I think Caleb made a joke. He said, "Oh, my mom, she's never going to let me go." And I said, "Not true." I said, "I'll let you go if it is the Lord, but I'm not going to let you go for anything less than that. If it's not the Lord, if it's not him clearly speaking that he has called you, that he has a plan and a purpose, and that you're following his will, then no, why would I let you go for anything less than that? So in my mind, I am open to what God has, but we are also cautious. We're not interested in our kids being used as, whatever they could be used for. We want to release them when we know that it's what God has. And so, yeah, who knows what the future holds, but we just treasure every moment that we have at this point as much as possible. And so if you've got kids that are growing up, that's my encouragement to you today, is to treasure them. All right. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Thanks for joining us, Malakai. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule of freedom to join us for this talk. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.